Hello citizens, it's Councillor Gian-Carlo Carra, Ward 9 TV Light. We're talking about great neighborhoods today, and specifically a very important ingredient of great neighborhoods. As we know, great neighborhoods make a great city. I'm super proud to represent the amazing neighborhoods of Ward 9. And yesterday, April 25th, on the floor of Council, I brought forward 3 notices of motion specifically looking at the issue of affordable seniors housing. So I'm going to just break through them one by one. I just want to let everyone know that we got them all passed with a tremendous amount of support from Council, and that makes me extremely happy. So issue number 1, along in Inglewood, south or right by the truck stop, Blackfoot Trail sweeps through the community. What very few people know is that Blackfoot Trail used to take a different route right along the Colonel Walker schoolyard through the neighborhood, and then it turned onto Alyth Bridge. And in the 1970s, the community, in response to the city's desire to upgrade or reclassify Blackfoot Trail into much more of an auto-focused street, they said, look, if you're going to do that, don't put it by the school. And what we have is this legacy of sort of like this empty lot that follows that former right-of-way. In the 1980s, Habitat for Humanity came in and built some affordable townhouses right in the middle of that. And so what we have is we have the entry by the schoolyard and by the truck stop. Then we have the Habitat for Humanity homes. Then we have a big space in the middle that people use as a community park. And then we have a final lot up against Alyth Road. And what's weird about the situation is that the lots on the edges have been designated as park, and the space in the middle that everyone uses as a park has been designated as a buildable site. And I've been experiencing a little bit of anxiousness about the idea that maybe at some point the city is going to say, hey, we want to build on these lots, and the community is going to say, in the middle of our park, what's going on here? So I was approached by the Jack Long Foundation, and the Jack Long Foundation has been working for years in the legacy of our amazing community leader, Jack Long, who helped fight back the freeways and protect Inglewood, the individual who said every person's a planner, the person who helped us establish the ARP and became a city councilor in that regard. The people who worked with Jack Long have established a foundation in his name, and for the last several years that foundation has focused on the idea that we need more affordable seniors housing in our community, specifically Inglewood. And they are working on a very cool project to establish basically an independent seniors living co-housing situation. Now, co-housing is where you have a smaller personal unit, but you share common space with the people who you live with. It's sometimes called intentional community, and co-housing can be great communities within communities. And the idea of using it for seniors is something that hasn't been tried in Calgary, and Jack Long Foundation has advanced plans to the point where they approached me and they said, we need a piece of land. And so we started looking at different places in the neighborhood, and that lot on the former Blackfoot right-of-way backing onto Alyth Road became this great place to do that. And so working with administration, working with the community association, working with neighbors, we said, let's get this land set aside so the Jack Long Foundation can do some fundraising. And while we're doing that, let's swap the parks and the buildable lots, and let's actually take the land that's a vacant lot and supposed to be a park and doesn't work as a park and turn that into the buildable lot and protect the park in the center of the neighborhood. And so I asked Council to do that on the floor yesterday, acknowledge that we're going to work with the Jack Long Foundation and we're going to do this swap for parkland, and they unanimously said yes, we're going to do that. So I'm very excited to report that's moving forward. Issue number 2, in the community of Ogden, the Community Association of Millican-Ogden turned 50 10 years ago. They're celebrating their 60th anniversary on Neighbor Day this year, June 18th. And when they turned 50, the Ogden House seniors, the seniors community, established as their goal for a legacy project the establishment of affordable seniors housing in Milligan and Ogden, because there are so many seniors in that community who, when they reach a certain point of age, have to leave the community to move into the kind of housing that makes sense for them. And that's a real heartbreaker for everyone. They're severing ties with the community. They're not able to age in place with their family and friends. And for the last 10 years, that project has just run into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And I basically, when I came to council, I said, we've got to clean this up. We've got to get this thing going. And we ran into a number of roadblocks. The final roadblock was we had established that there was a piece of land, a ball diamond, right next to the community hall, and the Parks Department was willing, because Ogden has so much green space, to give up a little bit of green space ball diamond so we could set that land aside and actually pursue an affordable seniors housing project on it. We just needed the community association's buy-in, and the community association said, look, we're not comfortable with a recreational field given over. We're happy giving over green space, but we don't like giving up actual usable recreational space. On top of that, as great a center as the community association is, it's not near the main street. You keep telling us this green line's going to be coming down the pipe. Maybe we should put it closer to the future main street of Ogden Road, close to the station. And so after a couple of a year or so of wrangling on that point, we've settled on the corner, the northeast corner of George Moss Park. And George Moss Park is this giant 4-block green space that sits in the middle of the Ogden section of Ogden. And it's literally a block away from the future 72nd LRT station and the main street of Ogden Road. And so we sort of reached a point where everyone felt like we could actually pursue a affordable seniors project on that site. And I asked council yesterday if we could swap the previous agreement of council to work with the Ogden House seniors for a piece of land up there in Milligan and bring it down to Ogden. And the community and the council said yes. And so we're moving ahead with that, and that's going to get written into the policy for the Ogden ARP that's coming forward in December of 2016. So those are two big wins in terms of securing space where we can do affordable seniors, and the single biggest barrier to achieving affordable housing of any kind, specifically affordable seniors, is land. And now we've got the land set aside, so I'm really excited with working with both of these communities to get these projects built. And the lessons we learn there are going to be able to cross-pollinate those ideas across the neighborhoods of Ward 9 and across the city of Calgary. And so this is a major win for great neighborhoods. The final issue has to do with an affordable seniors project that we built already in Inglewood. It's kitty corner from the Lawn Bowling Club, across from the Burger Joint, across from Rouge Restaurant. There's a big piece of land on the corner of 12th and 8th Avenue. And that piece of land in 1970 was the site of 12 affordable seniors cottages established with federal and provincial neighborhood improvement money and looked after by a community-based board called the Inglewood Housing Corporation. Before I got elected, I became part of a team, including the board and the community association in Inglewood, that said, you know, these 12 cottages on this big piece of land in the center of Inglewood are reaching end of life. They're falling apart. They've got mold issues. We got to do better, and we got to do more on this site. Took us 6 years, but we built Inglewood House on the site of the former Inglewood cottages. And we were very proud to open that a couple of years ago. On the site of former 12 units are 43 LEED Silver Shadow units that were produced at really good value for the taxpayer and for the corporation. And this year, because of the downturn in the economy, because they're near market rent and rents have dropped, they've had some financial challenges, and keeping the tenancy there above the 30% vacancy rate has been a little bit of a challenge in the short term. And they approached me and they said, listen, we're having trouble and we're paying a lot of property tax. Can we get some property tax relief? And I was dumbfounded, actually, that a not-for-profit housing corporation that was built with a unit that was built using tax dollars was paying property tax. And so we dug into why that was the case, and for a couple of very obscure reasons, very technical reasons, they don't apply for COPTR, which is the provincial property tax exemption for not-for-profits. And in looking at the issue, I realized that it was going to take us a little bit of time to do the necessary restructuring of Inglewood Housing Corporation in order to make them fit within COPTR, and we just didn't have time if we were going to give them tax relief this year. So I went to council and I said, look, can we give these guys, can we cancel the property tax this year, By next year this time, I'm going to guarantee that we'll have them secure and exempted under copter, so we never have to come back for an exemption again. But these guys are really good people. It's a really good project and it needs support. And council debated whether we wanted to cancel just the city or the city and the provincial, and it was a tighter vote on that issue, but council voted to cancel all of it. That means we're basically covering about $20,000 worth of municipal tax, and we're paying the province about $11,000 of provincial tax for the right for these guys to be tax-free. We're going to go after the province on that. Joe Ceci, I'm looking at you. But the issue is put to bed for the Inglewood Housing Corporation and Inglewood House, and we've got a year now to get them exempt. So I'm super excited about that. It was a big win yesterday, April 25th, for affordable seniors housing. Affordable seniors housing is critical to great neighborhoods. We've got some exciting stuff coming up on the affordable seniors front in May. Thank you so much. Let's keep it going. Councillor Gian-Carlo Carra signing off.